Radio in motion program loading in 3, 2, 1. Program activated.
Attention everyone, the unpleasant noise you are about to hear coming from your radio is not a mistake.
Okay, first things first, what is your name?
This is Big Sonny playing the best of the 90s and beyond.
Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Radio in motion.
Please do not turn off your radio, but turn up the volume on your receiver as high as it can go.
All right, ready? Here we go.
Radio in motion.
All right, thanks for joining me tonight on Radio Motion. Tonight we've got a great show. I always love it when I find sort of those 90s hip-hop and R&B songs, and then you mix them together as if, you know, they were born to do that. What can I say? Hey, you know, mixes have been around for a while, but there was just something about that 90s sound, especially, you know, I feel like it's, this is a stretch, but stick with me. So in the comic book world, there's Superman and Batman, but Superman is sort of he's like the daytime hero, and Batman is the nighttime hero. All right, but they're both awesome. They're just different, equally great. So in the '90s, you know, my passions are a bit split. Obviously, loving the whole emergence of the rock and grunge sound and the alternative and you know the Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains, the Nirvana, the grungy sound. I feel like that was the angry daytime sound, and we would listen to that. But then something happened around dusk. The sun goes down, or usually it's when you're driving in your car, when you're a teenager, and you know, it's just great to be out of the house and have that freedom, first of all, driving. And if it's at night, again, there's just a special feeling, especially when you're younger, teens, early 20s, and you're driving, and the radio would always start those night grooves and the hip-hop songs, and, you know, like a Friday night, Saturday night. And the best thing is they were always, like, mixed together, you know, with the perfect beat, moving on to the next one. Not like a full-on club scene, just the flow of music, so it never ended. It was the never-ending 90s sound at night. Anyway, that's what we've got going tonight. I love to recreate that here. Hope you're enjoying that. But right now, we're going to have another episode of The Ugly Truth. And the ugly truth is AI is not what it's cracked up to be. Like, that's an obvious one. But more so, and I think this is sort of the boomers or the boomer adjacents, which I'm not. I'm Gen X. Leave us out of this. You know what, Gen X? You know, you forgot about us? Good. That's fine. We don't really care. We've been used to taking care of ourselves for the longest time. We were the ones that just went on our bikes and you know, you'd find us everywhere but at home. Making our own, you know, plans and coming up with our own ideas and entertaining ourselves. So we're fine to stay out of this. But the boomers and the adjacent boomers, those who are just clueless, they don't actually listen to any other generation, and they certainly don't listen to the younger ones. But the ugly truth for them is they really have no idea, or they don't care what's coming. And when they try to sell AI, the idea of AI and how it's going to fix everything. And by the way, I've talked about this plenty of times before on shows. It's always about a balance. Of course, there's good and bad. I can't deny that. But we are going to talk about some of the bad that you just can't sweep under the carpet. And especially, you know, when they're trying to sell it to the young kids who are graduating now. Not talking millennials, not even talking Gen Z. This is more like, again, you know, they're younger siblings. They're just getting out of college, and they are looking down the barrel of the AI gun, and they have speakers at the colleges who are like, "Hey, is everyone ready? And don't be scared. Change is part of it." So we're going to get a bit of a deep dive into that tonight, and there's a particular commencement speech that I wanted to talk about that I just think is both hilarious and embarrassing for the person. But first, I always want to say, when I talk about anything like this, it's always follow the money and follow the power. And again, like I always say, hey, Look these things up for yourself. Don't listen to me. And here's a tidbit I always want you to look up. The top 1% owns roughly 45 to 50% of the world's total wealth. All right? I don't care how Grok or ChatGPT spins it. I don't care what crap you get that gets, rehashed in your Google search. This one will come out just like that because there's no way to bend it or twist it. That's a fact. So let that sit with you, okay? And if you don't mind that, that's fine. But just remember when we talk about why things are like they are and why decisions are made and why it seems like sometimes you don't feel like you have a voice, or you think, well, I'm not interested in that. It doesn't bother me. It's not. I'm not into politics. I don't want to deal with it. And the problem is I was like that too. But when it creeps into your life and it affects your everyday life, it can't hurt to put on your critical thinking hat and just have a look around. And so that's the one I always want you to keep in your mind, even if you want to ignore everything else, that the top 1% owns at least 50% of the world's wealth, and they still want more. And the bottom 50% owns just 2% of the world's wealth. And wealth doesn't always mean jumping into a bed of money, having a bath of money in your golden bathtub. Wealth is a legacy. It's generational wealth. It's owning home and land and being able to set up your kids, for their best start and the next generations and their kids and so on, and just in general. And yes, some of that is the ability to make money. And like I always say, F you money. It's different to have a 9 to 5, and that's good. You have a job, you pay your bills, your mortgage, you're doing all right. You're doing good. You're not out in the street. And again, not judging those because you never know how they got there. But if you're in a home, you're paying the bills, you're eating dinner, you're doing all right. But that's not FU money. That's not money in the bank for you to go, you know what? I ain't feeling it this week or this month, or my partner and I want to pursue something else, or maybe I want to help him or her, or anything that you might want to decide. You can't because you are stuck. You don't own the house ends up owning you. Again, that's one example. So like I say, no matter what we talk about tonight, all roads lead to the top 1% who just can't help themselves, that they just don't understand there is enough for everybody on this planet. There is a way to work together. No, I'm not a communist. Yes, I believe in capitalism, but that is also something that needs to be checked and balanced as well. If you have an idea, if you have the drive, if you have the passion, and you work your ass off and you go for it, you deserve what you got. I never knock millionaires or even billionaires who started with nothing and they built that empire, as long as, again, they at least try to spread that around in their communities and try to give back. But, when I say there is enough to go around, I still believe there is. It's just that it's those top 1%. They're the feeders, and they just want to suck you dry. You are the commodity, and all roads lead to them. So that's my start before I even get into the AI. So AI, I've talked about that plenty of times before. That's the hot topic. Some people care, some people don't care. Some people are overly worried. Some people aren't worried at all. Whether it's AI stealing jobs from Hollywood, because who needs it? We'll just make a movie on AI. And I've talked about that before. Hollywood does need to up its game, because even for the past decade, they have just been so slack trying to get that perfect production, cookie cutter, boring movie to make sure it ticks all the boxes, and they are losing. No one cares. No one's coming. So AI is coming for them, and they need to get their stuff sorted out. And yeah, AI coming for the everyman, the everyday job. You even think, typical admin, data processing, just, numbers in, numbers out. Yeah, okay, definitely AI can do that. What about labor? Well, as the AI merges with the robots that we've had for ages, the little arm that moves at the car plant that does that's been around since the friggin', Industrial Revolution, more advanced now, 70s, 80s, and 90s. You put AI on the arm, now the arm's running the whole factory. Anyway, so yes, we talk about these kind of things. And I always I'm not someone who just gets stuck in a rut. I don't pick a side just because someone said, "Oh, you have to choose this narrative and stick with it, or you're not on our side." I'm not on anyone's side. As I've always said, I'm on human side. I'm on humanity's side. And yes, of course, there's huge benefits. There's amazing medical benefits. There's so much AI can do that is going to actually help save our lives, help us live better quality of lives, longer lives, or just quality of lives, and access for more people to access it, because it used to just be the rich and the wealthy who had the ability to access, medical care and miracles that, were only out there for a select few, whether it costs too much or, again, of course there's benefits to that. And someone said, well, AI takes, the manual labor menial tasks. Again, that's a fine line, for some, that's still an enjoyment. Maybe it's something they enjoy doing. Maybe it is something they've been doing for years or passed on, and they enjoy that physical part of the job. And if they do it well, why not? Menial tasks, yeah, okay, no one wants to dig a ditch. However, as I said before, maybe some people do, and that brings them joy. So whatever the task is, you think that, oh, well, I wouldn't want to do that. It's just repetitive. Please also consider someone out there in the world sees that differently than you do. Some people see a desk job as a nightmare. They see that as repetitive. They see that as a coffin. Whereas some who love their office job couldn't imagine working outside or being in a pipe, 100 feet underground trying to stop a flood or fixing something, or someone up on the high tension power lines. So yes, let's say AI is a multifaceted thing. But here's the funny part, and this is what I said at the start with the boomers or boomer adjacent. When they're talking to the younger crowd, and usually these people are, sorry to say, they are representing the kind of companies that really don't give a crap, and they just want to use AI for all intents and purposes to get rid of us. Yes, there are those people too. And so they're trying to sell it to a crowd that they don't even listen to or didn't even ask before they said this. So the one I'm going to talk about specifically, there was a speaker, Gloria Caulfield, speaking at the University of Central Florida, and others have covered this. Tucker Carlson covered this, and I was already looking into this, so, and I've already spoken many times on AI, so yes, I'm elaborating on something that he did talk about, but I'm fascinated about this anyway. But so she was speaking at the commencement ceremony at the university, again, having no clue, thinking before she opened her mouth, the crowd she was addressing, they're excited that they're done. They're gonna start their next chapter, but like no other time before them, and especially now, they are walking into a completely new world. Going into the job market was always stressful and scary. It's been like that for a long time. It's nothing new, but it is new when I don't think they can see the path clearly. I don't think the plan is as easy as it was for those who did make their perfect plan, graduate, get the perfect job. I've got it all planned out. Works for some, doesn't work for others. But I think AI throws a spanner into those works. But yeah, without even realizing, without reading the room, that the crowd might be a bit, stressed as well as excited at the same time when you talk about things like AI and it's coming and you have to embrace it. So the way she described it was, it's the next industrial revolution. That's nothing new. We've already been there. We've had the times when the machines took labor from people. And it did, yes. We lived through it. We adapted to change. We came up with different things that we needed to do. This is still different, though. This is still different, like I say, than the cotton gin, the Iron Age and the Bronze Age and the Industrial Age and the assembly line. I don't know. It's still machines. It was still humans needing to repair and work the machines. AI is a whole different level, and to say that just like, oh, it's nothing. We'll get through it, and to say it's a time of profound change, she said. Yes, it is. And when she mentioned that some of you, she said, and many of you, might be worried about this, but you have to embrace change. By the way, look up the clip. I'm not going to play the clip. She got boos. A lot of the crowd started to boo and sneer and make little comments, AI's crap, AI sucks, AI sucks. And she genuinely, I feel bad for her. You could tell she turned around and she said, "Oh, I struck a chord." I don't think she expected that. I think she just expected all these young minds. Oh, they love it. They all just must be coders and gamers, and they love AI. No, the generation that's emerging now, although yes, of course they're smart. They've grown up with that. They are also a little bit different, even like I say, from millennials and definitely Gen X. They're very practical, very logical, and they don't buy into the bullshit. When someone's trying to sell you that, hey, AI, it's just the next thing. We'll get past it and you'll embrace it. They booed her. And she didn't expect that. And, her voice changed. You get that quiver if you speak in front of a crowd and you're starting to get stressed. She had that quiver in her voice. And I feel like, wasn't prepared. And so they were saying like, interrupt with jeering and AI sucks. But yeah, when she says, what happened? I struck a chord. And then she thought she'd pivot and say, well, there was a time before AI, and then then she got cheers. So now the crowd's cheering. Like, yeah, hell yeah, there was a time before AI. Good. Because that was a time where probably I felt a bit more confidence going into the job market. So right there, I think that's fascinating because I don't think you often see the result of a real person talking to a real crowd of young individuals about to be thrust out into the world. All we're inundated with is AI's great. AI, hey, add AI to your business. AI can build your business. AI is your business. You don't even need you. Just set the AI up and collect the money. Just collect money, baby, money. Yeah, okay. All we see is how awesome it is. I think it's fascinating to see the actual next generation of soon-to-be job seekers telling AI to go stuff itself. So that was fascinating right there. And I think that is an interesting turn to where we're at with the reaction of all AI is good. So... And yeah, so that younger generation who reacted like that with the boos and then the cheers, thinking of a simpler time, I will talk about the darker side of AI, job displacement, automation. And again, this isn't assembly line automation. This is automation like never before. This has replaced you as a manager. This has replaced the whole building, so no people need to be in it. Unstable career paths, and even shrinking level, entry level opportunities. I have to say this. I hire people in my job, and I've always believed this. I believe in meritocracy. I will never assign someone a tick box to say, oh well, we need this gender or religion or color, and you fit that. I will not do that. That is not It is not how you earn it. That is not meritocracy. The right person for the right job. And that is based on your experience, your suitability for the job. Are you willing to do the job? Are you the right fit? No matter what your age or background. If you're the right fit and someone wants to give you a chance, you're hired. And I always talk about like the fast food industry, especially, McDonald's. I think for decades, that type of industry. And again, you think, well, no one really wants to work there. Yes, but it is a fantastic entry-level job to get your feet wet. I'm not saying an after-college job, although, it couldn't hurt for some extra money. But it's where you learn some structure, some teamwork. And again, they have a very, I mean, there's a McDonald's manager handbook that is worldwide. I don't care whether it's a McDonald's in Bangladesh or Melbourne, Australia, or New York. It is the McDonald's manager playbook. But the point is it's a good entry-level job. And those jobs may start disappearing. You see the kitchens where the robots are making the food, and you don't even need people there. And I do think that's sad. You have to learn to crawl before you walk. One cannot fly into flying. That's Nietzsche. That's not me, but it's true. If you didn't earn it, it's going to hurt you in the long run. You can't just, you have to earn it. And those are the small steps. That's how, just like human evolution in general. And again, we'll talk about this another time. That's the other problem with AI as well. It's happening too fast. For humans, my God, we're talking thousands of years of evolution, and even we adapt really pretty fast. But over time, over millennia of adapting, but AI is moving too quick. It's flying into flying, and I think it's going to hit a roadblock. But yes, those kind of jobs would start disappearing, that's quite sad. So, AI replacing creative work. I've always thought, it's gonna be the data. It's just gonna be very logical driven. It's a difference engine. It's just ones and zeros. But as you see, when it starts writing, like I said, a movie script better than Hollywood, and then it can produce it and then spit it out, that's a problem. That is scary. It's encroaching on what we think is uniquely human. I go back to I, Robot, Isaac Asimov, or if you don't know, we'll just say the movie with Will Smith, but it wasn't bad for an adaptation. But there's a scene, and these robots were very high functioning, full AI, walking around. You can imagine what happened in that movie. It all went bad. But the robot was wanted for killing someone. Will Smith is in the interrogation room, and the robot was sort of defending itself, saying all the positive things that it's done for humanity, and how it helps humanity. And Will Smith was going into, but you're just a robot. You're not human. You don't have the creative spark or a soul. He would say, can a robot write a symphony or paint a beautiful painting? And the robot said, can you? That was a tough moment because just because Will Smith couldn't do those things didn't make him any less human, but he also said, just because as a AI sentient being, because I can't do those things, am I any less, self-aware than you? Again, that's getting a bit deep, but that's the kind of AI talk I love. But yeah, it's when it's replacing the creativity. That's also another worrisome space. That's not just repetitive jobs. But yeah, and I'm not saying it's not anti-technology. I'm not anti-technology. I've got it all around me, but I like to keep them as tools that help me to my creative end, to what I want to do. I wouldn't have as much fun being here at the radio station if I sent an AI version of myself, even if I was sick as a dog and couldn't make it. I would feel like that was a betrayal, and it would just feel wrong to just say, I don't feel like it. I'll tell you what I want, and you just do it for me. That's another realm. I think we're getting into a difficult space when the AI is thinking for you. You're going to lose the ability to have critical thinking and just thinking in general. That's, again, another rabbit hole. But, okay, so all of these things that we mentioned, these are spinning around in those young students' heads, trying to go out into the job market. And that's the thing that's disturbing. And I am going to talk about this. This is the other disturbing part. And this is affecting people's neighborhoods and communities and towns. And again, you look this up yourself if you don't think it's that out of control, especially in the U.S. Data centers. You think, whatever. So they're out in the desert somewhere and there's a huge air-conditioned building. What does it hurt? Yeah, well, they're not so much in the desert. The data centers, especially in America, they require specific things. They require water for cooling. This is something that mankind or elemental Earth can't seem to get around in general. Heat. We produce heat. Computers produce heat. It's all moving. It's all energy. It's all moving, and it gets hot. It needs to be cooled. We still haven't found the perfect way. No, windmills don't cut it. No, the wind breeze, stiff breeze doesn't cut it. Massive amounts of water and cooling systems and noise and generators and massive amounts of electricity. And of course there's public concerns. The massive electricity consumption alone, the water usage, takes it from the local community water. Prices go up. Again, there's the economic debate. Does it help growth initially? Sure. Someone has to build it, and there's construction. But after a while, you don't need the people. Okay? That's the thing. Think about long term. Initially, does it boost the community? All right. Small community happens to be in the right spot in middle America, and it's the right conditions, near water, river, or stream. Boost some jobs. People are involved. They're managing it. They're managing the site. The place gets built. Well, I hate to tell you, maybe it employed thousands of people to get it running. But once it's done, it does not need you. It is a data center. It is a big, giant building sucking all your electricity and all your water, and it only needs a few security guards and some people to check in now and again. Everything inside just does what it does without you. So in the end, no, it doesn't need your community. Yet it's still in your community, and it's affecting it. It could be, it's environmental damage. And how does this happen? You think, well, the communities can fight back. Well, now we circle back to what I said at the top of the show, the top 1%. And again, I'll talk about this in another episode. I've talked about it before. We think we elect people. We elect politicians. They speak for us. But they don't, because someone else is behind them. When they close the door and they wave at us, they kiss the babies, lollipop, and then it's a big parade. They close the door. Someone is waiting in the background. However you want to picture him. You want to picture him as Mr. Burns? That's fine. Hello, Smithers. He has a bucket of money. I'm sorry, but to this day, I don't care how altruistic you think someone is. If you give them a big enough bucket of money, they're bought. Also, I dare say, and I'm going to say it, it's not always money. Could be blackmail. Hey, you look that one up too. Whether it's Hollywood or the White House or everything in between, big business, you have to be 100% clean, and that's hard. That's hard. All of us, even just in our lives, think we've done bad things. Well, the higher up you get, they do worse things. And you know what? Let me tell you, someone somewhere, and now even worse with, you guessed it, AI. Every little thing you do is recorded. Every little thing, every little text, SMS, photo you send, speech you give, whatever you do, your smart home, your cameras, everything's listening. It's all around you no matter where you go. The cameras in the street, the traffic cameras. Where do you think it all goes? Where do you think it all gets recorded? Do you think someone comes out and takes out a little SD card? Do you think they take out a videotape, a hard drive? It's all at a data center, folks. It's all at a data center. It's all there, no matter what they say, that we delete it, we get rid of it, we don't collect it. They do, because the more and more memory you get, terabytes beyond terabytes, it's all there. So blackmail, hey, it was easy before, just with photographs, but now, for those politicians or anyone, like I say, the higher up you get, you better watch out, because if you can't be bought, they'll find another way, and that's called blackmail. They'll say, oh, what about this? Oh, hey, look, we found this. Not good. Better do what we say. And again, you don't believe that? That's fine. More power to you. So that's how the top 1% get their money. They have the control. And with data centers, boy, oh boy, they can keep an eye on everyone, even you. They might not care about you yet. One day you might want to run for office. You might want to just run for local council. Watch out. You better be clean as a whistle. And even then, well, you know what? They don't have to find anything. You know how they can use AI? Well, my friends, they'll make it up. That's the other thing that worries me about AI. It's not the data centers going across 40,000 acres. It's not the one in Utah that's touted being called Stratos. I think they're going to call it the data center that they're trying to push on the community. And yes, the community is trying their best to fight back, but sorry, money wins. The billionaires win. This thing is going to be approximately 40,000 acres, twice the size of Manhattan, or more than 2,000 Walmarts, or Big W, if that makes sense. And the power. I already said environmental damage and water and community. And there's these noise, the hum of the generators, and light. There's light everywhere. Well, think about this. Remember Back to the Future? This is one of my favorite scenes when Marty goes to the past, and the 1950s Doc finds out how much power the DeLorean needs because it's out of plutonium, and he sees himself on the videotape saying 1.21 gigawatts, and of course Marty goes, "What the hell's a gigawatt?" Hey, I said the same thing. Well, gigawatt or gigawatt. Let me tell you, it is a real thing. And to give you an idea, these data centers require up to 9 gigawatts or gigawatts. I like the way Doc says it. So imagine if Doc Brown's head exploded at 1.21 gigawatts. If he said the DeLorean needed 9 gigawatts, which is more than an entire state uses. Not a city, an entire state. His head would explode. It would just fall off on the ground. So these data centers, with all the AI humming along, when I said before about everything is being recorded, everything you do, and if they can't get them with money, they'll get them with blackmail. Well, guess what else these giant data center AIs can do? They'll make it up. How do you know what's real anymore? Can you even tell? You think it's a bit funny now. You see funny memes. You see Tom Cruise fighting Matthew McConaughey or something, and you think, oh, that's funny. You see all the Arnie memes. That's just a start, because the more realistic they get, they'll just be you one day. Like I said, better keep your nose clean, and you're safe. No, you're not. If someone is really out to get you, if you really piss off the wrong people, if you really push too hard, if you really try to use your voice and you don't have the big money to protect yourself, if you don't have the FU money to go in your bunker down somewhere and just, transmit your show in secret, you're in trouble, because they'll just make it up. A video, an audio, whatever it is, photos. An entire speech you never made, a place you never were, a country you've never been to. That's also what AI can do, and that's what worries me. It blurs the line so much between reality, and you're like, oh, you're just anti-tech. I'm just trying to make sure we always keep our minds open and have a conversation about this, because AI is going to affect our lives more than just we all think like Terminator's coming. You know what I mean? It's going to be more than that. It's more than The Matrix. Those are movies that certainly hit some on the right chords for many reasons, for sure. But I think it's more the part about blurring lines between, and not like The Matrix not being, although The Matrix is a good one now, it's becoming more real than ever, right? What if you didn't know you were in The Matrix? What if it was so real you didn't realize you were inside just a computer, that you yourself weren't real? But look, that's one aspect. But again, the life we live now, where you're sitting now in your lounge room, wherever you are in your car, somewhere out there, you could be completely replicated, and things you've done and said or never did and said can be faked. And that's a worry too. So again, these are the things that are probably on those students' mind. And I don't know why she was so surprised that they booed, because everything I said did sound a bit dark, but I also said, of course, I was going to focus on that, because that's probably what's in their mind as someone who's so stressed about what their next step is in the job market of the future. They're not thinking about the positive benefits of AI. No. They're not thinking about, like I say, it probably can help extend quality of life and the amazing things it can do. They're just thinking about the bad, and it's not their fault. So I think essentially, I'm not sure if that's just the beginning of some backlash, or maybe there'll be more. I think it'll be interesting to sort of watch this space, definitely keep an eye on what it looks like at, high school graduates and university graduates, and that generation, the one that I think is more logical and practical than ever before. They're not the generation that was triggered by everything. They're not the ones that wanted the narrative of identifying themselves by external things. They're not bound by any ideology. That stuff was not sustainable anyway, because as I always say, no matter what you look like on the outside or anything external or whatever you identify as, you're still you. There's only one you on the whole planet, and that's the one true identity, you. You can't beat that one, no matter how everyone tries to add all the other ideologies in and try to compete. The victim Olympics, like I like to say, you try to say all the things that, well, I've got this, and this, and it's worse for me, and so you win. So you win. You're the victim. You've won. Well, in the end, all of us are on our own unique journey, and we have more in common than we know. I always like to end it with that. Remember, we have more in common than we know, because we're all part of one big group, and it's called the human race. And that's a fact. And we all have the ability to come together and keep an open mind and have critical thinking. And I hope that makes us uniquely human, because as much as I'm a huge nerd and I'm into all this AI and tech, I do watch the space when I hear about what AI is doing when it tries to interact with humans or even with itself, or how it tries to protect itself, and how we have to remember that it didn't spawn out of nowhere. It spawned from us. So it's also going to take on all of our hangups and the good and the bad. And like when someone always says, "Oh, AI and Grok and ChatGPT," or maybe it's someone who's using, a quantum computer AI and the most sophisticated AI ever, and they just use it to research something, and it scours the entire wealth of internet knowledge, and it spits out an answer. I always say, all it did was skim through the giant human library, our human library. That's us. That's ours. We created it. We carried those stories, those legends. We carried the truth. We carried us through time. We discovered, math is just waiting there. The universe already has the blueprint. And yes, we found those things, but we found them. We found how to use them, geometry and algebra and mathematics in the world, and we intertwined it with our creativity and books and paintings and music and love and hate and war. That's our story. That's the human story. It's not AI's story. AI just scoops it up, like scooping some whipped cream, and throws it back in our face and says, "Here, I found this for you. I found some of this." So sorry. A lot of times when I hear AI, I don't think it's AI. I think it's just shit in, shit out. Sorry. It's not really coming up with anything new. And I'll leave you with that. So we'll get back to our awesome 90s hot mix on Radio Motion after a word from our awesome sponsors who aren't AI. All right. We'll be right back.